Good evening to all our online viewers. My name is Esther Shakela and I am your moderator for tonight's edition of SWAPO Talks under the theme Your Vote, Your Voice, Securing the Future through Registration of Voters. Tonight we're going to unpack the importance of the supplementary voters registration, which is currently ongoing and being facilitated by the Electoral Commission of Namibia, as well as why it is important to participate in the electoral process that is the regional and local authorities election slated for later this year in the Republic of Namibia. Tonight in studio, I am joined by a very excitable panel who are all eager to share their insights with you insofar as the SWAPO Party Manifesto is concerned and why it is important for you to vote for SWAPO. On my immediate right, I am joined by Honorable Lucas Muha, who is the chairperson of the National Council here in the Republic of Namibia. Honorable Muha, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and good evening to you and to our viewers and followers and listeners.
Thank you very much. And right next to him on my far right is Ms. Twafeni, who is a first-time voter and a first-year student who is registered for the Bachelor of Political Science at the University of Namibia. Ms. Theophilus, thank you for coming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody, to all the viewers, to everyone, the panel at large. It is therefore with profound gesture to be part of this wonderful and amazing discussion.
Thank you very much. And on my left, we have the ever-vibrant secretary of the SWAPO Party Pioneers Movement, that is Ms. Elago Shikongo. Thank you very much and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening to all the viewers.
Thank you. All right, let us get right into it. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to start with you. Can you please take us through why it is important for us to vote at these upcoming elections? And perhaps you can just also shed some light on what precisely are the elections that are taking place later in November this year.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you for the question. Maybe before that, you have introduced me as a chairperson of National Council. Now, what is so interesting here is for the viewers to know a little bit about what this National Council is all about. We have been pondered with this question every time that I travel, whether it is within the region, within the country or outside, because the system that we use here is not similar to the systems outside this country. So that's why now sometimes people get a bit of, perplexed with the distinction between National Council, National Assembly, to an extent, linking it to Parliament and so on. National Council came into being in 1993. To be exact, on the 23rd of February. This is a house that came into being after the promulgation of the Regional Council Act of 1992. Now, this is the act that gave birth to the election, the first election of 1992. That also subsequently gave birth to the existence of regional councils, and also that was now followed by the National Council later the following year, which is February 1993. Now, or maybe before I get there, I should also mention here that National Council consists of 42 members, 3 from each regional council, or 3 from each region. We have 14 regions, and times 3 brings us to 42 members. Now, I did that introduction to link you to the question, because as we are going to proceed, we'll be talking about regional council elections, local authority elections, and so on. Now, just for you to have an understanding that regional councils are linked to National Council, meaning National Council is a baby of regional councils. That's what I actually would like to explain here. Now, you asked me a question of why supplementary registration? Why voting? I should mention here that the supplementary registration has started yesterday, the 4th of this month, and it will end on the 19th of August this year. Now, the idea of us participating in the supplementary registration of voters is to capture those who did not have a chance to register last year when a similar exercise was conducted. Maybe because they were not yet 18 by then, or for one or the other reason, they did not get a chance to register. And now, as per the Act, so they need to be accorded that opportunity for them to register in order for them to participate or to partake in the upcoming elections. Elections, as you have rightly said, that is coming on the 26th of November this year. Now, this is an election referred to as regional council elections or regional council and local authority elections, meaning this is the elections that will take place in the regions, that will require people in the regions to vote for their regional leaders at the within the environment where they live. Now, as we are going to proceed, I will talk much about the importance of people to vote for this, to register, and also to, more particularly, to vote for their leaders who they can run to 24/7 for assistance. I will talk much about that.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Muha. As we have heard it, ladies and gentlemen, the supplementary voters registration process has started. You can go to your nearest registration points, which are all also very much made available for the public to know and find out about on the Electoral Commission of Namibia's website. So please, if you have not gotten a chance to register last year, this is your opportunity, and make sure that where it is written region and local constituency, there is an indication of that particular area in which you live. Now, I would like to turn to you, Tuafeni. You are a first-time voter. Can you please take us through your thought process? When did you register, and what motivated you to go and register for your voter's card?
I registered on Monday, and I best believe that I was one of the first people to register at our registration point. Reason being is that I've always been excited to vote, but then I was taken away from it due to my age. So falling back from last year, I've been that person who has been advocating for, you know, the SWAPO party, be it in my school, be it in my environment, be it at home. And, you know, people always say that, no, you're just talking this and that, you're just saying this and that, but then there's nothing that you can do about whatever you have to say, because at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can do about whatever you have to say, because at the end of the day, you are still not going to vote. But irrespective of this, at least I have educated somebody to make an informative decision when it comes to voting. So me educating that one person to make an informative decision when voting is like me casting a vote using somebody else. But then now I've gotten at least the opportunity to vote. Like, my vote counts. So I've gotten that opportunity to use it to my fullest potential. So it was so exciting for me to register. That's why I had to do it with immediate effect, and this is my voter's card. So basically that.
All right, that sounds very exciting. Being the first voter or prospective voter, let me rather put it that way, at your registration point shows that you are very eager and that you are ready. But let me perhaps follow up with you. You mentioned that in the previous electoral year, you have been advocating for the SWAPO party and basically being a proxy voter through those you gave civic education to. Can you tell us why you were such an ardent advocate for the SWAPO party last year? Why was it important for you to tell people to vote for the SWAPO party in 2024?
Looking back to their historical legacy that they have left, and basically the ongoing empowerment for the ongoing commitment to youth empowerment has been one of the greatest key factors to why I've been advocating for SWAPO. If we look at the current status quo, the youth is the majority in Namibia, and we have the majority say to how our futures can be impacted, to either policy making, be it in the education sector, be it in the job sector, be it in whatsoever. So advocating for SWAPO has been one of the greatest things I would have done, because the youth is the one that has the majority say to it. So we need the youth to participate within these votes, to make sure that our voices are heard, and to make sure that we participate in policy making by casting our votes.
All right, thank you very much, Tofeni. Now, Lago, I'm going to turn to you. Tofeni has mentioned that Namibia has quite a large youth demographic, and that it is imperative for us to ensure that all these young people, I think almost 71% of them, as per the last or recent census statistics that we have received, we must find a way to make sure that they actively participate in the processes that we have in the country. How would you say that young people are involved in key strategic and decision-making processes within the SWAPO-led government?
Well, I would say that that's a very good question. Young people are the future. And I believe that young people have portfolios. They're the future ministers, the future leaders, the future president. So I believe that by voting, their voices can be heard. It also builds a better democracy. It also gives them a chance to express themselves. You know, as young people, we have this thing of, I want this leader. I believe that if I choose this leader, he can make a change. So through that one leader that I choose, I can also make a difference just by voting. My vote counts.
Thank you very much, Elago. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it right here that in order for us to truly and fully reap the benefits of our democracy, we need to ensure that young people are involved. And I would like to turn this question back to you, Honorable Muha. How would you say young people are involved within key decision-making processes, particularly within the regions and the local authorities? And furthermore, can you please help us shed light on why you said earlier that voting in the regional council as well as the local authority is voting for a leader within your environment whom you can run to directly? Please distinguish that for us.
Yes, thank you for the follow-up question again. As my co-panelist was contributing, I just remember, and she reminded me, just for me to verify, just for me to check if I had my voter's card as well. So everywhere I go, I carry mine, and this is my voter's card. Now, this is done because I do not know where the 26th of, where in the constituency, that 26th of November will catch me. So wherever I will be, I will just have to use my pocket and then take it out, and I have to to vote. This is just an example to give to all eligible voters that after you have registered, you should not be very, very far from your card. These cards are so small, they can always get lost if you are far away from, or if you hide it somewhere where you will not even remember the following day. So you should avoid that. You have to make sure that it's always at a very safe place. Like mine now is always in my wallet, meaning I always have to carry it. Now, in terms of the participation of the youth in the legislative process, it has to start with their activeness during the primaries. There is this exercise that SWAPO, as a party, refer to as primaries. The exercise where we internally sort ourselves in order to produce a candidate. That is where the youth and everybody should participate fully. Why should they participate in this process actively? It is the process that will then produce the preferred candidate, a candidate of your choice. And if you have participated, and rightly so, if you got it right for this candidate to be produced by that exercise, you will be eager, you will feel proud, you will even feel that, let me now go and support. Now, after the district conferences, that then determines the, not the winner as such, but the person that comes out. In the party, we don't say this one is the winner, this one is the loser, because it's only SWAPO that wins. Now, after we have produced one candidate, it will now be the responsibility, more particularly of the youth, to support during the campaign. I mean, I have seen the activeness of the youth in terms of the campaign. They are very good in technology. They would always send SMSs via Twitter, via whatever. They will send these messages that somebody of my age may perhaps not be able. So they will do that. And through that, they are talking to the fellow youth. Remember, demographically speaking, the youth are in majority. And if the youth are now, the SWAPO youth, not any other youth anyway, SWAPO youth are now active, they will influence the other youth also to participate. Now, after we have produced a councillor, now through the general election, that is to come on the 26th, after we have produced a councillor of that particular constituency, there is always this process of determining the three that I was talking about to come to National Council. Now, this youth, even if he or she is not the one who has been nominated and participated, so this youth should still participate in whispering to those that are going to be in that meeting, that very first meeting, as so determined by the president herself, now this time herself, to say who are those to represent us as a region at National Council. Now, when that activeness and that contribution has just taken place and has now made a determination of those three, upon arrival at Parliament, it is still expected for these youth who have been active since day one to still come to this member and say, as youth, what we would like us to be considered on is for you to either amend this particular act of Parliament or to come up with a fresh proposal, a bill, to promulgate a law that will at least address this particular matter. And once that is done, then you will feel, I have contributed. Because remember, a country is run by a law, not by a person, but by a law. Now, if this youth did not participate in the law-making processes, this youth will always feel left out, and nobody has forgotten about this youth, but it's just him or herself who has decided to isolate himself from the processes as I have just alluded to. Now, what is the next question again that you wanted me to look at?
I would like for you to please just tell us, you mentioned earlier that voting for the regional council and local authority elections is voting for a leader whom you can run to directly and a leader within the environment.
Yes.
So it's just to shed some light on that, to say what distinguishes a regional councillor, a local authority councillor from the executive, for example.
Yes. Remember last year, and that is 2024, we had the general, what is referred to as general elections, but specifically National Assembly and presidential elections. Now that elections, the importance of it is the determinations of the national leaders. The leaders that will then be eyeing to all activities that are taking place in the entire country, regardless of their origin. Now, and I would refer to that as an election that would be determined by the political parties through the set processes. Now, this election to come on the 26th of November is an election to determine, like I said earlier, to determine the local leadership. The local leadership that will provide, number one, an opportunity for the local people within the area of their jurisdiction to talk about the bread and butter issue. Not necessarily to be provided like manna, but to participate in the bread and butter issue. Remember, regional councils are the ones that reach the concerns of the people within the areas so given to that particular regional council. You will hear me talking about regional councils more than a regional councillor, because a regional councillor is just a member of the regional council, and the decisions are taken by the regional councils and so facilitated by the regional councillor. Now, the regional councillor, who through that process that I've explained, is determined by a district, is a very important figure in facilitating the development for which to reach the recipient. And this recipient is the youth, is an elder, is a woman, is everybody. Now, why is that vote so important? And not just a vote for SWAPO candidate. Why is that so important? It's because if you don't vote, other people will vote on your behalf. And sometimes when they vote on your behalf, they may vote wrongly. Wrongly, in a sense that they will vote for a candidate who is not your preferred candidate. Remember, in regional council election or local authority elections, there will be a lot of a variety of candidates. Now, for you to make use of the card and vote for SWAPO and for the SWAPO candidate is the right thing, because this candidate that you are going to vote will now lead you to the dream of a 2030, which was set by SWAPO through its structures. This candidate that you are going to vote will be the person who is going to facilitate the 4 pillars of the NDP 6 as recently launched by Her Excellency. Remember, we have a situation where some regional councils are ignoring the dreams of this government, the SWAPO-led government. Now, it is the responsibility of a SWAPO youth to ensure that you place a SWAPO member in your respective constituency so that he can implement the dreams of the SWAPO party government, the dreams of the SWAPO and its government. Now, I just mentioned about the second one. The third one, you see, when we complain, we'll always start, not always complaining. The complaint is perhaps used for a lack of a better word. It's a submission of your plight. Because when you vote, you have taken your power, maybe I should use a different one. You have vested your like some of your powers into this person so that he can represent you. Now, he may not know what to represent you on. Now, when there is issues within your environment, the first person to be met is the regional councillor. If you reside in the local authority, the first person to be met is your local authority councillor. Now, referring to the vote, or the vote of 26th of November 2025, is to ensure that the person that you are going to run to is the person that you know. If you do not know this person, or maybe other people have made their own determinations of this person, you will not find it easy for you to take your plights to the person. But if it is the person that you have supported yourself, you will find it easy, and he will also find it easy in response. And that is before it reaches the central government. This is the person that you will be running to first to represent you before he takes it to the central government. So that's why now, a vote such as the one to come for 26th of November, so determined by the CAT, that I'm encouraging people to go and, especially the youth, to go and obtain within these 2 weeks. It's a voice and it's a vote. It's a voice and a vote, the same thing. It's a voice and a vote that is very, very essential for your daily life.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muha. To our online viewers, if you are just joining us now, you are watching this edition of SWAPO Talks under the theme Your Vote, Your Voice, Securing the Future Through Registration of Voters. Now, Alago, I want to ask you if you could kindly take us through the process that led to you running for the Secretary of the SWAPO Party Pioneers Movement. And the baseline for that question is because, as Honorable Muha has mentioned, is that we must, as young people, participate within the internal processes of the party, thereby influencing other young people, not only in the party but beyond, for them to want to jump onto the bandwagon and be part of that process step by step, even if not necessarily holding a portfolio, but in one way or the other. So I understand that you've recently been elected as Secretary of the SWAPO Party Pioneers Movement. Congratulations, by the way. But just take us through it. What made you stand, and how would you then use your position to influence other young people in the structures and beyond the structures to participate in these internal processes?
Thank you. Growing up as a child, I think when I joined SWAPO as a young pioneer, when I started my pioneer journey, I was in 6th grade, which I remember was 2023, when my father took me to the to the first ever Congress, whereby I was elected as the SWAPO Party Pioneers Regional Secretary for Oshana Region, before I now moved to Commerce. When I went there, I actually didn't exactly know what I'm supposed to do, but I knew that I had to represent the party. So I remember I prepared a speech on why I should be elected. I prepared a speech, I went up there, I gave my speech, and from that moment, I knew that I was meant to be a leader. After I was elected as the regional secretary of the Oshana Pioneers Movement, I began my journey where most of the time I would use my platform, SWAPO Pioneers Movement, to encourage other kids to join SWAPO, because SWAPO has gave me the voice that no matter how young you are, you can be a leader. So after that, I heard about the Congress, where they were electing the newly elected leader for the national. And I told myself, I was a bit nervous, I was like, no, I already hold a position. And I thought, this is much bigger than I've ever battled, because I have been to many congresses where even Her Excellency will be sitting, and I would have to talk in front of her, and I would be like, how will I do this? But they would always tell me that you are a young leader. You are a young leader, and you have to talk. So when I went to the Congress, I told myself, I could do this. SWAPO is training us to become young leaders, to be able to one day fight for our country. So at the Congress, we had to give our manifestos. Why you think you are never too young. You are never too young to be a leader, and don't listen to what people say. In SWAPO, we are fighting for our country. So I went there with my manifesto. I spoke from the heart. And after people were done with the elections, I was elected. When I was elected, I had to give another speech. So that speech had to come with some promises. I don't really make promises, but I did tell people that I will do my best. So in addition, I would like to say that the Pioneers Movement is a movement that was brought up to bring children together, to bring pioneers, children all over the country together, to bring children together in the party. Excuse me. Pioneers Movement, okay, let me talk about my position. As you said, I'm the SWAPO Party Pioneers Movement Secretary. So my job is to encourage, to build a better democracy in children-wise, and also, as I said, to be able to tell children that no matter how young you are, you can become a leader. Thank you.
Very much, Elago. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard it right from the horse's mouth. In SWAPO.
Thank you.
Very much, Elago. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard it. We are fighting for our country, and perhaps you can also pass on the message to others. Please get involved. Make sure your children are attending the SWAPO Party Pioneers Movement meetings, the section meetings, the branch section meetings, the branch meetings, all the way up to all the different structures, so that we can ensure that we have young leaders that we are grooming. Now, to just give it back to you, to Atheni, I would like for you to tell your fellow first-time voters, and indeed young people, and actually not just young people, but the elders, the women, and generally the people and the citizens of the Republic of Namibia, why should they vote for SWAPO?
Okay, firstly, before I get to the point of why you should vote for SWAPO, I would, we tend to often underestimate the power of voting, but we forget that democracy lies within everybody or every citizen taking part. As you have seen, coming back to why you should vote for SWAPO, it involves everybody. It does not discriminate, be it you are young, be it you are small, be it you are old. Because at the end of the day, we might not know, we might not know what maybe the children are facing, what the youth are facing, what the elderly are facing. So if you tend to discriminate, you are going to decide that, no, the youth, we are going to give them this and that, but you don't have a youth representative. How should we know that the youth are facing these certain problems? You might know, but you would only know to a certain extent. So having the involvement of the youth, having the involvement of the pioneers, the young pioneers, already shows that SWAPO is a party that is there to advocate for each and every single person and does not discriminate, be it you are how old or be it you are from where, be it you are what, due to any circumstance. They do not discriminate. And that is like a light shedding, like it already shows us that it is there to fight for our people. It is definitely there to be there for us. And the second thing is I'll always talk about the youth empowerment, how they are so committed to youth empowerment. Because at the end of the day, the tomorrow is ours. Not even tomorrow, today is ours. So the policies that are set today, or the laws and the regulations that are set today, are the ones that are going to affect us tomorrow. So them youth into participating, be it in politics or into participating in whatever is happening in our country, it helps us. It basically helps us groom. It helps groom us. It helps groom our tomorrow, or it helps shape our tomorrow. Because looking back, I've not known that SWAPO had the pioneers movement. And I've always been wanting to be part of SWAPO, but I'm like, due to my age, probably I cannot be part. But I have so many, thoughts to contribute, but then, I couldn't find any, I couldn't find any, how do I say, I couldn't find any sector or any platform to help me, gaze this, let me say, aspirations I've been having. But now knowing that we have the pioneers, obviously you have young kids here with bright minds. That's why they say never underestimate the power of one, be it because of their age or whatever. Do not discriminate. You don't know what that mind carries. So this is a great initiative indeed. And also looking back to how, our youth is misinformed. It's either misinformed or underinformed, meaning they are not informed at all. we don't know about things going on. I'm sure a lot of people don't know we have local authority and regional council elections coming up. But because of platforms like this that the SWAPO has initiated, it's helping to cater for those that are not informed. So it's helping inform a variety of people. So that also stands as a stance to why you should vote for SWAPO, because it makes sure that our people are informed, it makes sure that our people are involved, and it makes sure that our people are responsible and are held accountable for their better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tofeni. Comrade Chairperson, in closing, I would like for you to please tell our viewers why it is important for the SWAPO party to retain or regain a 2/3 majority in the upcoming elections.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's a very good question. In supplement to where she ended, not everybody would like to hear that SWAPO brought the freedom, but that is the reality. On top of the freedom, there is peace that SWAPO has brought to this country and also maintained. I should mention to the youth and everybody listening that we have countries also here in Africa and outside Africa where you have people who have never seen peace for the past 50 years. They have been running from one point to another. Now, SWAPO has proven itself that it is a party that can really take this country to the greatest height. And apart from the freedom and the peace that I was talking about, we should also look at the infrastructure development that we have observed between 1990 to where we are today. Only 35 years. Within these 35 years, we are seeing quite a lot that has been going on and that is still going on. Remember that this country was in the hands of the colonizers for 104 years. And when SWAPO got it in 1990, there was almost, okay, there was something, there were these things that we can perhaps acknowledge. But if you compare the basics that we got to where we are today, for 35 years, and you compare the development that has taken place for 104 years, I'm talking of the 30 years under Germans, the 69 years under South Africa, and the 5 years, the in-between 1915 to 1920. Now, of the First World War. Now, that 1915 to 1920. Now, of the First World War. Now, that brings us to 104 years. Now, if you look at who Namibia was for these 104 years and who Namibia is for these 35 years, you will see the difference. And that difference is brought about by SWAPO. Now, we have to give thanks to our elders. Comrade Sem Nyoma, Toivo ya Toivo, Pohamba, Nangolo, everybody who really sacrificed their life. And they have done their part. What is left now is for you and me. In fact, I'm also aging now. I was just announcing when I was elected by acclamation last month to be a SWAPO candidate for that particular constituency, Mankumpi, in Kavango West. I told them, this is my last term, meaning I'm also aging now. I'm leaving it in the hands of the youth. Now, what is left is for those to take over, and that is the youth. Number one, to maintain the peace we should not forget about it, because any development that takes place in the country, it takes place because there is peace in that particular country. To develop, to maintain that peace. And number two is now to say, okay, our parents have done the basics, and our responsibility is now to take it where they have ended. And remember, 2030 is very close. And this country is now on our shoulder to prove ourselves, everybody in the country, that we can take this country to 2030 as per our dream. Now, why should SWAPO win, and not just win, but by 2/3 majority? Is for us to have the authority to decide. Because so far, we are being disturbed. You have this thought, you have this proposal, yet you are surrounded by the oppositions. Maybe this term has to change. I've been advocating for this. We should not refer to them as oppositions, because they will always oppose even if things are right. We should perhaps change and refer to them as minority. They are just in minority, so that maybe their thinking should also, or their mindset should also change. But because of referring to them as opposition, which they themselves have also accepted, every proposal brought by SWAPO has to be, challenged, even if it's not supposed to be challenged. And because we are not in the 2/3 majority, we cannot ultimately decide. We have to ask them for the support. And that's the first reason.
Okay, Elago, final words in closing. Please share a message with all our viewers as to why they must vote in the upcoming elections and why they should vote for SWAPO.
I only have a few words, which is go out in numbers, make your voice heard, and build a better and brighter democracy. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, all our online viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you so much to all my lovely panelists for the insights that you have shared, for the knowledge that you have dedicated to sharing with the Namibian youth and the Namibian public at large. Thank you so very much once again also to our technical team who has made tonight's show possible. Please do keep an eye out on all our social media pages. That is SWAPO Party Youth League on Facebook, SPYL_official on Twitter, and SPYL official on